General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was caught lying about the fines which are being taken by the Minister of Transport. We all know that there was a software which was brought and to capture fines from the digital number plates with speed limits. And General Museveni came out to deny that the purpose of bringing this system was not about fining, but rather it was about security and managing the fleet system. And for me, I think he lied. I don't know, is it because of old age or playing politics? In this video, first look at it.
I told you about the cameras. You were here with your policemen, just there. That was all they were doing. The one who's going to kill people doesn't call witnesses to see him. So I said, please, let's go technical. Let's have cameras. Now the cameras have helped us to handle a number of things. But the problem they have is that the number plates, these ones which are just, they are cooked. They just go and pick something and put it there. These are digitized number plates with a central command post. You touch it, the command post alarm goes off. This is the work of the digital number plates, not collecting fines and so on. I think the confusion about fines could be because we didn't have money, and we told these people to do the number plates, maybe recover the money from those who make mistakes, fines. I don't know, I think that's where the confusion started. But the issue is about the number plate is digitized. Every vehicle must have a digital number plate, traceable by the central machinery, central command, to know which pikipikis were in this area at this time, which cars were in this area. Because these number plates which are put on and put off, these are meaningless. This is the whole thing about the digital number plates. It's not about money, fines, what, no.
That is General Museveni coming out to say that the purpose of the system which was brought was about managing the free system, not ticketing. And the purpose of this video, I've come to tell you the lies which were made by General Kaguta Museveni, point out the evidence that he knew what he was doing, just that it backfired and he didn't want to take the blame, to show you the money heads, which is the Ministry of Transport, where Jim Muheza and Katumba Wamala, I think, bargained a bad deal for Ugandans, because Ugandan ministers are incompetent. 90% of Ugandan ministers cannot even head a secondary school. That's why they bring out these bad deals. Okay, that's why they just load what they get. Okay, so in this episode, I've come to point out the lies which were made by General Kaguta Museveni, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the sedimentaries we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to remind that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagali. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to.
Mr. Wavamuno wrote to me complaining about the shutdown of his business in favor of joint stock, and he was suggesting that they could work jointly. I called the permanent secretary, and the permanent secretary told me he didn't have anything, he didn't know anything about the project. So I wrote to the president and I suggested to him that it would be a good idea if the Russian company worked with the current manufacturers of number plates in Uganda and explore the possibility of putting their chips on the number plates in Uganda. And I intimated to him that it would be a bit sensitive for us to shut down a local manufacturer in favor of importation of number plates when we can do it here. Or if there are any difficulties, we could see how to overcome them. I've never received a reply. I doubt whether the president ever saw that communication. Then the next time, I got a report from police officers who went to do due diligence about the company in Russia. They highlighted two things. That what they saw was a system for large fleet management. That's in the report. If you want, I can share the report with the committee. That this was a system for large fleet management, and that has never been rolled anywhere else in the world, and that Russia itself does not use that system. That when they inquired about where the number plates were being done, were being manufactured, they wanted to visit the factory, that they were told the factory was in Poland. And as far as I'm concerned, Poland is technically at war with Russia. Ipso facto, every Russian company operating within NATO is under sanctions. So I was wondering how we are going to implement this project in these circumstances. Unless otherwise, if those who are pushing the project can explain this, I have nothing more to add.
First of all, the fines which were meted on Ugandans were unfair. Even the speed limits were not good. You may find a car with fines worth 1.5 million, yet the car cost around 5 to 6 million. Almost a quarter of the price of a car is fined. That was not seen anywhere. Okay? And General Museveni coming out to deny that the system was meant for security, not extortion. He was lying. I want to bring you to a document which was signed by General Museveni, confirming that these people are going to fine us. Because first of all, we didn't have the ability to finance this scheme. So a company was brought in, by the way, a company which is incompetent was brought in so that it can spend money on this system and continue recouping. Money was supposed to be shared on the basis that the company takes a large sums of money. In fact, in a contract which was seen, you clearly see that a part of the page where the Committee of Transport sat, it went like unreasonable revenue sharing terms. According to the financial model, the USD 510 million 38,654 revenue that will be generated from the fine shall be shared as follows. The private company will get above 400 million, government will get 76 million, NEC will get 25 million. You can see that the private company was taking 80%, okay, as fines, and the government of Uganda was taking 15%, okay. Furthermore, in the observation, the committee observes that the private firm will take the legal share of revenue from fines of 80% compared to the government 20%. However, the revenue sharing is not proportional to the risks borne by the shareholder. The only risk the private company faces is low revenues, which will be mitigated in the assumption to guarantee a return. However, the revenue sharing arrangement does not consider the various risks the government faces, including hate and rage from the populace. That was the committee, okay, that came out to say that the sharing equation was not fair. So since inception, this incompetent firm was supposed to take multitude of money, and General Museveni is coming out, okay, to deny that it was not for that purpose. Okay, in this day and era, information can be easily gotten. General Museveni, I think that is the problem of having a leader who's not for the generation. He tends to think like as if Uganda is still in the 80s. Let me also bring you to the letter where General Museveni confirmed that this company should get okay, this deal and that they should get fines. In a letter that was written 13th June 2021, Honorable Minister of Security, Office of the President, Parliament Building, reference project for the installing electronic tracking device on motor vehicles and motorcycle. I'm writing to direct you that within 2 weeks, you consider the agreement with a Russian company, Global Security Joint Stock Company, to provide electronic monitoring of all vehicles and piki-piki in Uganda. This should have been implemented 4 years ago. This would have made the work of tracking criminals very simple. Do not waste time with any other group because these were the first to bring this proposal. The only 2 things I wanted to resolve were whether the technology works and the funding on the effectiveness of the technology. Read Engineer Lumu's report. He says that it is effective and anybody trying to tamper with the gadget would be detected. On the funding, the investor says he will recover the money from the traffic offenders he will catch. If this is the case, sign the agreement within 2 weeks. Signed by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Okay, so you clearly see that even General Museveni was in the know that the funders of this system were going to recover their money through fines. So on the other hand, he cannot come out to say that he didn't know. He cannot come out to say, okay, that he didn't know that they were going to fine Ugandans. I know in developed countries, this system is used. We are in the day and era where traffic officers are not manning traffic fines. In fact, the system even minimizes corruption. But we must understand that even amidst as we're upgrading to technology, General Museveni should know that they must not get ministers to, first of all, negotiate bad deals for Uganda. How can you tell me that fines are going to be shared on 80-20 basis? How can you tell me that you are coming out to deny? The system is good because this is where the country goes, but we should stop the double standards, coming out to deny when something backfires. The deals that are negotiated by the government. The Ome deal was so bad, the Ujagali deal was so bad. We always have incompetent negotiators. But I don't think they're incompetent negotiators. These are negotiators who would want to get corruption money out of these deals. Because if you negotiate a bad deal, you may want a kickback. So General Museveni should know that he lied to the nation. Of course, that's my opinion. You do make us by commenting about this. Thank you very much for listening in. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, I implore you to subscribe, like, and comment so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.
Nange benjagala obulungi.